Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. It's an exciting day for me, for sure. I want to start by thanking Burton Snowboards. This is sort of my home. I work here as the executive director of the Chill Foundation for a number of years in this building, and so they've been gracious to offer us this space for this press conference. So I'm honored to have the opportunity to introduce a man who probably needs no introduction. Governor Howard Dean, also known as Dr. Dean, served as our governor from 1991 to 2003. And that's how I got to know Governor Dean. My husband, Mike, served on his security detail. And the great governor that he was, he said, your wife shouldn't sit at home when we go hiking on the weekend. You know, you should bring her with you. So the first hike I went, I'm pretty sure he tells the story that he thought I would never go again. Because it was frightening. And when his son, Paul, said, I hate the Wampahoofus Trail, I said, I'm with you, buddy. I am with you. So that was our first experience. I did go hiking again with the governor and his family. So in 2004, Governor Dean ran for president. And then 2005 to 2009, he led the Democratic National Committee. Since then, he's served in a number of different roles, but I think his passion really is engaging in democracy. And that is evident in his support of individuals who want to do the same thing. So today, Governor Dean is endorsing my candidacy as a Chittenden County State Senator, and I am very grateful for that, and want to thank him by asking him to come forward and give a few remarks. Governor Dean.
Thank you very much, June. It's nice to be back in Vermont. This came about in a very strange way. I had no intention of endorsing anybody this cycle. I try to stay out of endorsements, especially in primaries. I did not know June was running for the Senate until I got my absentee ballot. I went, what? So I called her up and I said, do you want some help? I've known her for a long time. When you're governor, the people who spend the most time with you are the security detail and their families. And so I went camping with my troopers and skiing with my troopers and their families. And I didn't think that any time that the troopers, giving all the things they did do, ought to sacrifice their families. So we used to do all these things together. I had forgotten about my son when he was 5. He's now 35, complaining about the Wampahoofus Trail on Mount Mansfield, but it was great. But that is not enough. That made me think that I wanted to think about breaking my self-made vow about endorsements. The real reason I'm endorsing June is I think she should be a fantastic senator for Chittenden County, and I plan to vote for her. One of my 6 votes that I get for that position. I am supporting her because she's been a community activist. I got to know June not so much on the hiking trail. I got to know her because she and her sister had a lot to do with the Make-A-Wish Foundation. Make-A-Wish raises money by doing lots of good things throughout the year, but one of them is hockey tournaments. And my kids were both avid hockey players, and June was often running the tournaments, especially the Vermont, New Hampshire tournament. And so we got to know her there too. She's a community activist. Most of her life has been spent working for things that do good things for the neighborhood, whether it's helping kids get through cancer or it's other forms of charitable activity. So she has a tremendous spirit of community hard work for others. And the thing I think is most important is she has a strong sense of social justice. Social justice is probably the biggest issue on the ballot. Obviously, there are important things, and I'm going to turn this back to her so she can talk about them. But if you don't believe in social justice, in my view, you shouldn't be in office. And she does. You know, we're about to be tested big time in about 2 weeks. About 30% of Americans, and I suspect Vermonters, are not going to either be able to pay their mortgage or their rent. And we're going to have to do something about that. And I want somebody representing me in Chittenden County that understands how tough it is for ordinary Vermonters to get through. So there are a lot of policies that we need to adopt and a lot of changes that we need to make. But the thing that's most important to me, to have the people who are making those changes understand how tough it can be to get by at times like this. So June, thanks very much. Turn this over to you for questions, comments, and rude remarks.
Okay. Thank you, Governor. I'm going to start by telling you why. One of the questions I get everywhere I go is why do you want to serve as a senator in Vermont? And I did a lot of thinking about that before I made my decision. And I know that my why is you. My why is your kids. My why is your parents or your grandchildren. My why is the people of Vermont. And the reason that is I grew up in central Vermont on a farm in poverty, raised by parents who were both World War II veterans. They met in New Guinea, got married there, came back and made home in the home that my father grew up in. And they, although we were poor, my parents were very involved in the community. They were very involved in the Democratic Party. I remember helping make signs for Governor Hoff when he came to our house for a photo shoot with our friend's donkey in our driveway. My parents were also very involved in the March of Dimes because my parents lost their oldest son at age 8 to polio, about 6 months before the polio vaccine came out. So that was my foundation. And I grew up, I went to college, paid my way through Vermont College of Norwich University and then St. Michael's College, and then started my career in higher education. That's when I met my husband, Mike, who was a state trooper at the time. And we raised our family in Richmond, Vermont for the last 26 years. I then started my career in the nonprofit world. So I was the executive or the CEO of the Make-A-Wish Foundation of Vermont first, then CEO of Vermont Family Network and CEO of the Chill Foundation here at Burton Snowboard. And that is an international organization working with underserved youth, providing opportunities to build life skills through board sports. That service and seeing the struggles that people go through, either because they can't find affordable housing or they're struggling navigating the healthcare system, and the parents are trying to figure out how to do that, or families who are working with the education system because they have a child who has some sort of special need. We were that family as well. My son was diagnosed early on with a learning disability and a gross motor delay. And so we were those parents who used the system, try to figure out how to navigate so he would succeed in education. Well, he is now working on his second master's degree, so that worked. And I think all of that, my nonprofit leadership, and my personal experience with Mike deploying with the National Guard 3 times and trying to navigate, doing that by myself for 3 different deployments, gives me a perspective on what Vermonters are experiencing. And I want to be a part of the solution. I want to work for Vermonters and work towards a better Vermont. So thank you for being here.
Jim, where do you fit in the Chittenden County's state senate campaign is notoriously tough to crack?
Mm-hmm.
Where do you fit on the spectrum vis-a-vis the rest of the field?
So the way I fit into the question is, where do I fit in the spectrum of Chittenden County? And there are 13 candidates in the primary election. And I believe that what I bring is real life experience. I've served on the select board in Richmond. I have been involved in the community as a soccer coach of second graders. I also bring the more rural area of Chittenden County perspective, having spent the last 26 years in Richmond and growing up in a rural area. So I think that I'm bringing this real life experience of leading nonprofits, being a pragmatic leader, being a collaborator, because in the nonprofit world, that's what you need to do. You don't survive without collaborating. And also being a listener. We we have to listen. I think that we're not really going to know the solutions. No one's been here before. COVID-19 is new for everyone. And I think that we are going to have to ask a lot of questions. I don't think we could possibly have all the answers because I'm not sure we even know what all the questions are. And I think because of my experience, that's what I've done my whole career. And so I think that's why I bring what Vermonters will need in the State House.
What kind of job do you think the current governor is doing on the COVID challenge?
The question is, what kind of job do I think the governor's been doing on the COVID challenge? The crisis has been demanding. And I think the governor, along with the other leaders across the aisle, have done a great job. They have worked hard. I have reached out to every representative and every senator in Chittenden County because I want to thank them for what they've done. It is incredibly difficult. Every day is a new statistic or a new crisis that's happening. And I think they've done a phenomenal job listening to the healthcare professionals. Not every governor across the country is doing that. And so I think that our leaders across the aisle are doing that. And for that, I commend them. Any other questions? You made it easy on me.
Thank you all.
Yes, thank you so much for coming. I really appreciate you being here. I want to thank the governor again for his support. It means a great deal to me, and I know it would mean a great deal to Mike as well.